every marriage has two flawed people in it.
Right.
You're one of them and your spouse is the other.
Even if you've been married for just a second, I think all of us could use a little bit more fun in our marriage. You know them from their viral lip syncing videos, and they now have a book out. Kristin and Danny Adams, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Okay, so the new book is The Road to Love and Laughter, Navigating the Twists and Turns of Life Together. How did you go from elaborate videos with wigs and costumes to then writing a marriage book?
Yeah, it was kind of a big leap, right? It's like how your college major never matches what you actually do in life. That's what happened. We were like, let's write a book. Let's do it. Why not? No, we started making lip sync videos, and those are the ones that like went viral for us on our page. We got known as the lip sync couple, and instantly we had publishers reach out, and we were like, what are we going to do? Write a book on how to make a lip sync video?
Right.
That just didn't feel right. So we turned down some of those initial offers and just plowed ahead with like our vision that God had given us, which was to make family friendly content where God is always welcome. And from that, we started booking live events, and it evolved into like a date night. And then we would do just like MC and just do fun things for various, corporations or schools and churches, of course. And so once this message started getting developed and honed through our live events, then we kind of felt like maybe we actually have something that's worth saying in a book. And we just waited for that right time. We were on some podcasts and we shared our marriage testimony on one, and Zondervan, who's our publisher, was listening. And they reached out and they're like, man, that was powerful. If you could get that message somehow in a book, we would love to work with you guys. And so we started putting the pen to the paper, and we have something now. So we hope it blesses people.
The book is called Road to Love and Laughter. And I know you guys tell some very personal stories and you get deep into the nitty gritty of the marriage stuff. But I mean, your entire entertainment, everything is about fun. So for a couple that does not have a trunk full of costumes or more wigs than they can count, how can couples, what are some practical ways that couples can keep fun and laughter in their relationship?
We get asked this a lot, obviously, because of our mission and what the content we put out online. And I think what it really comes down to are two things. One, you can't laugh with or at someone that you're mad and angry at all the time. And there's been seasons in our life, like Danny's the funniest person I know. He's hilarious. But if I'm mad at him, like I'm not laughing.
Right.
Or if I am harboring unforgiveness, or if I'm resentful, those are things that we call laugh blockers. It's just not funny. For us, we really have to do the heart work of keeping our hearts light, having those regular check-ins, keeping cycles of confession and forgiveness going with one another. Like, hey, I'm sorry I was short with you. Can you forgive me? I'm just, it's not you today. I'm just in my head. Or that goes a long way, to just say that to your spouse and not assume that, oh, we've been married for 13 years. You should just get it and know that I didn't mean that. And then you can't laugh with someone if you're not spending time with them. And, laughter is one of the biggest social bonds that we have in marriage and in society. It's so powerful when you laugh with a room full of people, when you laugh just one-on-one, all the chemicals in your body that are going through, from the endorphins to stress relievers to all the levels of things that are good in our body go up when we laugh. So I think for us, keep your heart light and make room for it. We always hang at the dinner table at far beyond us eating our meal, and we get out a card game, we play charades, we go around and tell our highs and lows, we just, and inevitably something's happening, So I think that's probably our two biggest pieces. Do you have anything?
Being intentional about even like Kristin mentioned, finding something funny even outside of you. Find that comedian, watch it. Chris and I, that's one thing that we do connect on. We share, the sense of humor and oftentimes the same kind of comedy. So we can connect there. It kind of gets the ball rolling. And having fun.
What would you say to someone who's listening right now who's maybe walking through that rough patch, maybe have had a lot of those fights, maybe are reaching a point where they're just not seeing a lot of hope?
I know for me, we've walked through this. So to that person, like, we get you, I get you. I know how it feels to have no hope in your marriage. And then to also feel extra guilty because you're a believer and we're supposed to like have our marriages together. And so I think there's just that added weight of like, I can't say anything. I can't tell anyone because then I look like I'm failing in my faith. And now I'm also failing in my marriage. And so I think not being isolated is like key number one. I mean, I have a thread of girlfriends that are all solid believers, and we've just committed to like, look, there is no judgment on this thread. Whatever you are going through, you tell us so that we can pray, so that we can get on the phone. We have monthly Zoom calls, or we get on Voxer or something, like communicate, especially through this last year of the pandemic. Like, you have to have a line of communication with your people, whatever that is. And so that's been a saving grace for me, because and people that are willing to check you and just not be, not get in the moan zone with you of like, oh, I can't believe me. Like, we don't do, that's not what the thread's for. The thread is not to like bash our husbands. We don't do that.
Yes.
This is like,
that's a really key difference though, because I'm sure you've been in these same circles. You go to a girls' night and all of a sudden it turns into husband bashing, and you're like, this is not very constructive. But having people who are going to say, I'm going to pray for you, and then maybe help even hold you accountable for your part in it.
Absolutely. Like, dig deeper, and, understanding like it takes two, to have that. Paul Tripp has a book that we just love on marriage, and it's called What Did You Expect? And in it, he presents the idea that, the biggest problem in your marriage is always you. I mean, outside of, and I'm taking abuse and serious situations out off the table. I'm talking about where just a lot of us live in the day-to-day of just being irritated, or the irreconcilable differences, category. That it's like, it's really easy to blame. It's really easy to blame your spouse for how you're feeling, for your finances, for your kids going, crazy, or whatever it is. But a lot of times we get in a place where we're blaming our spouse for things that we need to be running to Jesus for. And like, Danny's not responsible for my peace. Jesus is my Prince of Peace. And so if I'm feeling anxious, like, and I'm blaming Danny for all of that, like, what am I telling my Savior? Yeah. What is that saying to him? And so I think, just keeping that healthy perspective that I see you in this, you ask the question of what do you tell people that are in the rough patch? Don't be isolated, run to God, be honest with him, and ask yourself, what am I doing? You cannot control your spouse or anyone else, but you can take ownership.
One of my best friends, who's a mentor of mine, he'd give me all about 60 seconds to kind of just air out my frustrations. And then he would say, okay, let's talk about you. Let's talk about where are you at? Is Jesus at the throne of your heart right now? And are you allowing him to be Lord in this situation? And are you serving your spouse? And so it just quickly gets away from all of these things that the enemy would have you focus on. And put the focus on you, and how if Christ is in you, you're a game changer, and you can change atmosphere in your home by being the first to love, be the first one to serve, and all of the things. So
say sorry.
I think that's the check-in with just yourself is like, hey, I have to kind of just quiet things down and spend time with my Heavenly Father. And then from there, we can talk to those friends. I mean, there's no better place we can go to than the Lord in those situations. But I echo Kristin, get those people in your life that you can go to. Isolation, we see what it does spiritually, emotionally, mentally to people, and it's terrible. We have to have community. And it lets you,
it's easy to believe the lie in isolation that you're the only one going through this.
Yes.
And you are not the only believer going through this. It doesn't mean you're a bad Christian, or you don't have enough faith, or you're not, doing something right because you have problems in your marriage. Like, every marriage has two flawed people in it. Right. You're one of them and your spouse is the other. Yep. And so you got to have grace for yourself, and you got to have grace for your spouse, and run to God together. That's right.
Thank you so much for joining me again. Kristin and Danny are on all social media platforms if you want to check out their videos, and their brand new book, The Road to Love and Laughter, Navigating the Twists and Turns of Life Together, can be found wherever books are sold.